The Colorado Rocky Mountains. They stand as ancient, silent sentinels. Their jagged peaks claw at the sky. For centuries, these mountains have held secrets, breathtaking beauty, profound, unsettling mystery. We are drawn to their majesty, to their raw, untamed power. Solitude, towering pines, granite faces, but something else resides here. An energy, a presence older than any trail or map. Jaryd Atadero was only 3 years old. He was a beacon of pure, unfiltered energy. His father, Alan Atadero, described him as a vibrant, happy child. He had a mop of bright blonde hair and a smile that could light up the darkest room. He was curious. He was fearless. He was full of life. Jaryd loved adventure. He loved being outdoors. He lived with his father, Alan, and his 6-year-old sister, Jocelyn. They were a close-knit family. They had recently moved to the area, drawn by the promise of a new life and the beauty of the Colorado landscape. They were part of the Christian Resort Ministries, a place of fellowship. But on that fateful autumn day, this place of peace would become the epicenter of a living nightmare. The day was October 2nd, 1999. The plan was simple: a short hike on the Big South Trail. The Christian Resort Ministries group, about 12 people, gathered near the trailhead. The atmosphere was light, full of conversation and laughter. The trail winds through ponderosa pines, following the Cache La Poudre River. For adults and older children, it felt like a perfect afternoon outing. But Jaryd was energetic. He wanted to go. Seeing his son's eagerness, Alan relented and allowed him to join the hike. Jaryd ran ahead, a flash of color among the muted forest floor. He darted between the adults and mingled near the front with faster hikers. But in the mountains, visibility is a fragile illusion. The forest can swallow sound. The trees can play tricks on the eyes. A child can be there 1 second and simply not be there the next. This single decision, born of a father's love, unknowingly set the stage for an unimaginable tragedy that still sends shivers down our spines. The exact moment of Jaryd's disappearance is a chilling void in the timeline. 1 minute, he was part of the group, a small boy full of life. The next, he was gone. The hikers he had been near believed he had simply run back to his father, who was further down the trail. This simple miscommunication created a gap, a small window of time. It was enough. In that gap, he just vanished. He didn't cry out. He didn't scream. He simply was not there. The calls were swallowed by the indifferent wilderness. No sign of a struggle. No tracks leading off the trail. Just absence. The group frantically called his name. Their cries dissolved into the trees. How could no one see or hear anything? It is a question that haunts investigators to this day. It's as if he stepped behind a tree and entered another dimension, a point where our world ends and something else begins. The sun began to dip below the towering peaks, painting the sky in hues of orange, purple. But for the small group on the Big South Trail, the beauty of the sunset was a harbinger of terror. An afternoon hike had morphed into a desperate, frantic search as night closed in. The call went out to the Larimer County Sheriff's Office around 4:30 p.m. The response was immediate and massive, one of every search team's worst nightmares. Headlamps cut beams through pitch-black forest. Radios crackled. Whistles pierced the cold air. Helicopters and infrared monitors scanned the woods. No sign of life. Despite overwhelming effort, not a single trace was found the first night. No footprints. No torn fabric. No cry. It was as if he had evaporated into the cold mountain air. The silence felt intentional, the wilderness hiding something. As the sun rose on October 3rd, the full scale of the search effort became visible. It was one of the largest search operations in Colorado's history. Over 100 searchers on foot, teams on horseback, canine units, helicopters scanning the grid. But the canine units, our most reliable tool, behaved erratically. Dogs would pick up a scent, follow it, then stop, circle, refuse to enter certain areas. They planted at the edge of clearings as if sensing something invisible, a barrier or energy human senses cannot register. A 5-square-mile grid was crawled by people every inch of the terrain. Days turned into a week. Hope curdled into a grim sense of dread as searchers grew tired and desperate. They peered under logs, checked every crevice and rock, but the result was always the same. Nothing. After a week, the official search was called off. Snow dusted the high peaks. The mountains had won that round. Just 2 days into the search, a chilling and bizarre piece of testimony emerged. A couple hiking about 1.5 miles up the trail reported seeing a small boy matching Jaryd's description. He wasn't crying or panicked. He was just there. He reportedly pointed up the trail. Then the hikers continued, assuming his family was ahead. This sighting places him far from where he should have been, moving with purpose into the dense woods. Searchers reported hearing a child's voice or faint cry carried on the wind, only to converge on empty clearings. The sounds were fleeting, phantom echoes that led nowhere. Were they hope, wind, or something designed to confuse? Some witnesses described faint lights in the trees, a lure. Others felt a presence that only certain animals or children seemed drawn to. The case grew cold, but the energy of it remained, as if the mountain had suspended the normal rules of reality. After the official search ended, an unnerving silence descended upon the case. Seasons turned, snow buried the wilderness, spring revealed the forest floor, and no new clues. For Jaryd Atadero, the silence was unbearable. He returned time and again, a father's pilgrimage. He consulted psychics, followed every lead, searched alone at night, trying to force an answer from a silent mountain. The case became a local legend, a ghost story told around campfires and a cautionary tale for hikers. But to some researchers, it became a cornerstone case in the study of strange wilderness disappearances. The speed and distance of his travel, the lack of tracks, the failure of search dogs, the details were too bizarre to fit a simple lost child narrative. Theories multiplied. An animal attack, most likely a mountain lion or a human predator, both with holes that refused to close. The pieces didn't fit. The mountain held its secrets close, and the questions only grew colder with time. In June of 2003, nearly 4 years after Jaryd vanished, 2 hikers found something on a remote ledge. They were 550 vertical feet above where Jaryd was last seen, terrain no 3-year-old could have climbed. Nestled among the rocks, they found a child's hiking boot, a pair of pants, a jacket, the clothing Jaryd had been wearing that day. Investigators swarmed the ledge. Forensic teams cataloged clothing and scattered human remains. A tooth, a fragment of skull. DNA testing confirmed the unthinkable. The remains belonged to Jaryd Atadero, but the location made no sense. How did his clothing and remains end up on a remote ledge inaccessible to a toddler? The clothing was found neatly together, with no bloodstains and no puncture marks, no clear sign of a catastrophic animal attack. Forensic analysis showed scrape marks consistent with scavenging after death, but not the crushing expected from a mountain lion. Something, animal, human or otherwise, brought him there. The evidence deepened the mystery instead of explaining it. The discovery left investigators with 2 equally terrifying possibilities: a human predator, or an animal with incomprehensible behavior. Both explanations left stubborn gaps. The coroner's report listed cause of death as undetermined. Many officials still believe a mountain lion was involved. They theorize a lion carried him up the cliff, a feat of incredible strength. Yet the intact clothing and bone fragments contradict expected carnivore damage. Remove the logical. You're left with legend, stories of the land, a thin veil where unseen forces may operate by rules we do not understand. A child vanishes in plain sight. Search dogs are baffled. Witnesses place him far from where he should be. The pieces do not form a conventional puzzle. For family and community, the legacy is an enduring horror, a vigil for a life cut short and a wound without closure. The story of Jaryd Atadero is a chilling monument to the unknown, a raw reminder that in some places the veil is thin. What happened on that mountain, man, animal, or something else entirely, may never be fully answered. The presence waits. The question lingers.